John Madden doesn't just like football, he loves football.
Have you ever seen a defensive back with a good personality that was any good? Defensive backs usually don't have nice personalities. And linebackers don't either. I mean, linebackers, they're all half goofy. They got their eyes, staring and looking and crossed. Now, the nice guys are like this guy here, Jason Garrett. Third quarterback, wears a cap, went to Princeton. These guys like this guy here, Charles Haley, nope.
No.
Football! Football! Yeah! Yeah! Gotta eat!
Jason Garrett. He wears a cap.
Okay, Colin Coward.
Wears a cap.
Yeah.
Some racial undertones there too.
Colin Coward talk there.
Yeah. This is Purple Daily. Welcome in. I'm Phil Mackey, Judd Zolgad, Declan Goff. You can find us in Purple Daily form on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, ScoreNorth.com, and the app. Our other show, Mackey and Judd, where we expand on Vikings and other Minnesota sports and other nonsense and action movie rewinds and things like that. You can find Mackey and Judd in podcast or YouTube form as well on the Score North YouTube channel. Boys, Adam Schefter, our friend from ESPN, very plugged in.
Close personal friend.
Used to be a regular guest on the old Royce and Mackey show, in which
what's that again?
He would just be typing and tweeting during.
I'm sorry, I don't have time for this segment right now. What?
And I can't blame him. So Adam this morning tweeted, and we're recording this on a Friday here, that the over-under in his mind for teams changing quarterbacks in the NFL is 18, and he's taking the over. So he's saying more than half the teams in the NFL are going to have a different starting quarterback next season, which I don't think we've had anything close to this level of quarterback carousel ever. He thinks there are 15 quarterbacks or more that are just going to be straight up on the move from their previous teams.
Wow.
I want to list for you these teams and their situations real quick. And then I want you guys to tell me, are you, on behalf of the Vikings, envious of any of these situations? Would you look and say, I know that their quarterback situation is not solidified, but you know what? I think I'd rather be them and their situation. Sure. So the Texans are likely going to lose Deshaun Watson. Packers are on this list, but I think that's more of a next year thing, but so we'll put them off to the side here. Yep. Lions are going to lose Matthew Stafford. Cowboys might lose Dak Prescott because they can either franchise him for like $38 million or come to a long-term agreement, and they haven't figured that out yet.
Yep.
The Jets are a blank canvas, and they're going to have the number one pick. The Eagles with Carson Wentz maybe up in the air and Jalen Hurts. Rams and Jared Goff. Niners and Jimmy G. Patriots and Cam Newton are going to part ways. Panthers and Teddy Bridgewater look like they're on thin ice. Bears and Trubisky / Foles as of right now. That's the pairing, although they did call on Deshaun Watson. Dolphins and Tua / Fitzpatrick. Washington and Alex Smith. Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger. Ben basically said, I know I was terrible. I'm fine making less money. I don't care about money this year. And the Steelers are like, okay, good. Because
right.
Yeah, we're still not going to bring you back.
Yep. The Colts with Rivers retiring, the Saints with Breeze maybe retiring, and then the Jaguars. I'm sorry, I might have missed a team in here, or I put the Jaguars twice. But the Jaguars are going to draft Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, which of those teams do you look at and say, all right, that's a situation that I would be envious of?
So my top one, and there are teams on this list that we could certainly debate about, but my top one is actually the team that I think is very Viking-like circa 2008-ish or so, 9-ish, the Indianapolis Colts. Okay.
Yeah. It's a good team.
I love, because they're a good team. Exactly. They have an infrastructure around whoever is going to be their QB to replace your guy, Phil Rivers. They have an infrastructure and an offensive line that is strong. And I'm envious of the fact that they are able to and have done a good job, because they really can't find the guy now post luck, that they have left the door open on a continual basis to dip their toe in the quarterback pool and basically have the freedom to explore year to year solutions for a long-term problem. And I do believe that eventually their goal is to probably find the long-term guy. But I guess the question I have about the Vikings is, despite the fact that he does put up very nice statistics, congratulations, Kirk Cousins, are you the long-term guy? And my answer continues to come back, right or wrong, is no. I like the fact that the Colts have the freedom to move on quickly. I feel like the Colts are doing a very good job at renting quarterbacks. And then they try them out and they're like, you know what? This car was not too bad. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I liked it, but I'll take that car now. And then I'll take that car. And I feel that they've put a good enough team and a product around that quarterback that you know that odds are pretty good that they're going to be competitive, right? So that's a team that I look at franchise-wise and say, let's see, I could be the Vikings with Cousins, or I could be the Colts and not know who my quarterback is going to be. But you just went through a massive list of potential options, some long-term and great, some okay. I think I'd rather be the Colts.
I really like what the Colts have as well, and they do have sort of a 2008 Vikings feel where they're already a playoff team that's won double-digit games. The Colts went 11-5 this season,
sneakily,
and my guy Phillip Rivers was part of that. All right, so
Phil Rivers came on after that very questionable start where the ball was fluttering around.
Yeah. Let's not act like Phillip Rivers was like Tavares Jackson. We're not completely comparing the Colts to the 08 Vikings.
He was a little bit like my guy Gus Frerotte.
He was better than Gus Frerotte.
He was better than Gus Frerotte.
I feel like he was a little bit like my guy Gus Frerotte. A lot of stability there.
You have such a weird, wrong recollection of Gus Frerotte in 2008.
You know, partially why? Because
quarterback beer goggles.
Because Tavares played so poorly that Gus Frerotte was a huge upgrade. That's why.
Young Declan was in the exact same boat.
Flat out, that's why.
Gus goggles.
I was at the wild card game. I was there too, Judd.
The Gus goggles.
How they started Tavares in that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Would it have played out that much differently if they had started Gus, though? You think so? I mean, Gus doesn't throw the pick six on the right side of the field.
Jim Johnson, the DC for Philly at that time, he had Tavares running scared.
Hey,
literally running scared.
It was like 13 of
like
36 passes. He was awful.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But anyway, I do have a probably misperception of Gus Frerotte.
Two other teams that probably should be on this list too: Denver, uncertain situation, and the Falcons are like. There's a lot of mock drafts that have the Falcons taking a quarterback, maybe moving on from Matt Ryan or sitting a quarterback. The team that stands out the most to me that I would say, you know what, I would trade places. Vikings, sorry. The 49ers, yes. I know they only won 6 games. That team had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, and then injuries tore them apart, and Jimmy Garoppolo is just kind of a quarterback on training wheels. And so you envision 49ers getting injured players back. They've got some draft ammunition. They can upgrade their team through. I don't know what their salary cap situation is. And they've got one of the brightest young coaches in the NFL in Kyle Shanahan. If they were to add a Deshaun Watson or even just like a Matthew Stafford, we talk about Kirk Cousins, I think Kirk Cousins in that system would be better than what Jimmy Garoppolo gave them for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. I don't know, looking at the quarterbacks that I just rattled off, I don't know how many of these would be genuine Super Bowl upgrade pieces outside of Watson, like Rodgers, obviously. The thing about Stafford is he's played in the NFL for over a decade and he's never won a playoff game. And I get that some of that is Detroit. Some of it is also he self-sabotages in key moments and will throw dumb interceptions, which is what Jimmy Garoppolo tended to do. So I'm a little skeptical on that front, but San Francisco is the team that I would say, all right, I know they don't have a great quarterback situation, but I would still trade places and figure it out with all the available options. What about you, Dex?
No, I'm with you in San Francisco. I mean, he made flipping Nick Mullins look competent. Nick Mullins, dude.
It's crazy.
7.5 yards per attempt, 12 touchdowns. He had a fourth quarter comeback. And even their offense as a whole, 15th in yards, 21st in points. I mean, it is literally the 2007-2008 Vikings. It's the exact same blueprint. Their defense was top 5 in yards. They were literally a pretty damn good stout defense. And you have also a forward-thinking, offensive-minded head coach, which is just as part of the puzzle as finding your quarterback right now in the 2020 NFL culture. So for me, it's also San Fran. I think that is the obvious answer you want to be.
The Saints, I think if the Saints didn't have such a ridiculous cap situation, they're like $100 million over the cap going into next year, which I don't even know how that's possible, according to Spotrac.com.
Which cap? Which cap are we guessing at?
So ballpark $100 million.
Okay.
So it could be 80, could be 110. I don't know where the cap's going to fall.
I think also then the other one would too if they're not able to move off them. That's the problem. Is if the Rams could get rid of if they get rid of Jared Goff, I mean everything else is literally.
Hey, did you guys hear what their GM said the other day?
They might try. Yeah, Snead is
Les Snead flat out got up to a podium and was like, Yeah, it's really hard to move off that number, but anything can be done with the cap. He's like,
Yeah.
We'll probably try to dump his ass.
How about that? How about that one?
But that's the problem. Like with the Rams and the Vikings, and the Rams are further along on the Vikings path, and the Vikings are. They're both trying to do it with defense. And now I think the Rams would love to have a quarterback where they could just use all of Sean McVay's evil, creative, offensive genius. But the Rams and the Vikings are both in situations where upgrading at quarterback could make a lot of sense and could make a big difference. But it's really hard because you have to get rid of like $60 million guaranteed and either find a way to dump it, absorb it, or trade it before you move on to your Deshaun Watson option. But I'm with you too, Dex. Like, imagine Deshaun Watson on the Rams instead of Jared Goff. Like, that team wins the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
right?
they're the
Right there in the mix.
They're the favorite.
I'm just saying
In the NFC.
that Kirk in San Fran looks pretty damn good to me.
Do you think that's still a thing at this point?
It should be
with
a
Deshaun
thing.
Watson being available and Matt Stafford. Like, those conversations we've been having were sort of before all these other quarterbacks became available. You know?
I think it should be a thing. I think it should be. My mission in life is to reunite Kyle and Kirk. They belong together. It's a love story. It's a football love
I think
story.
Mariah Carey.
I think to make it happen, I got that reference. That was good. I think to make it happen, because they're going to be talking with Matt Stafford. I'm sure they'll put a phone call in San Francisco with the Texans and Deshaun Watson. But if the Lions are asking for, let's say, a second round pick for Matt Stafford, and he makes less money than Kirk Cousins. I think he's more cap friendly for them to maybe take on another player or something in free agency.
Sure.
You'd basically have to know what the Lions want and go lower if you're the Vikings, right? You'd have to, all right, the Lions are asking for a second for Stafford. You'd have to say, all right, well, we'll give you Kirk for a third.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to play hardball because the Niners have options.
I don't want to play hardball. Oh, yeah. No. Don't get me wrong here. I want to help. I want to help San Francisco. I don't want to play hardball with them. Third round pick's fine. It gets the ball rolling towards progress.
Okay.
So no, yeah, I am not going to say, well, I want a second round pick too. Because this is all about, to me, basically appealing to the fact that I do think Cousins playing for Kyle in San Francisco might be a great fit. It might be a fantastic fit.
You're just here to help San Francisco.
I'm just here to help the 49ers, and I
You're
am
a very giving guy.
And I am here to create room for my team.
Okay.
Or to get a QB who I truly believe is a top 5 QB in Deshaun Watson.
Do you agree with Adam Schefter in that we're going to see at least 18 teams make changes at quarterback?
No, I do
or
not.
If some of these guys go back.
That's
I think
too-
Carson Wentz sticks with the Eagles.
That's too high. So Deshaun is gone. Rodgers is not going. Stafford is gone. Dak is 50-50, right? Like, I mean, he could go back.
I think he stays.
I
think they'll offer him a
Darnold might
contract.
not leave. If the Jets don't do this right, I'm not convinced that he leaves now. I think if they get Deshaun, he does. But if they don't, I'm now not convinced.
I bet you Ben goes back for one more year with the Steelers
Yep.
for like $10 million. I
Yep.
bet they rip that contract up.
Carson Wentz stays. Jared Goff stays. How are you going to get if the Vikings don't dump Kirk, the Rams aren't dumping Jared Goff contractually, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy G's gone. Cam Newton obviously is gone. I don't think it's a slam dunk. Teddy's gone. I think he might be gone, but I'm not positive that they won't bring him back. Trubisky, not positive. Are you?
I don't know what they're thinking there.
Fitzpatrick is gone. Tua probably back.
On the Bears front, I guess if I'm the Bears, I would rather just go year to year with Trubisky for cheap than to lock into a $35 million deal with, a Kirk
Marcus
Cousins
Mariota.
level. Yeah.
I would just be done with him, but I don't know that they're going to be. Smith might retire in Washington, but I'm not positive of that.
He'll be a great backup, like great guy
An
in the
eventual
room.
coach.
Yep. Clipboard holder
Big
guy.
Ben, I agree with you. I think that he takes a salary reduction and goes back. So yeah, and I think the thing too is when the whole Deshaun thing is done, one team is going to get him, and I think the rest of the teams are going to take a deep breath and be like, "Do we really want to change quarterbacks now?"
Yes.
Don't you?
Agree with that. Like there's a few teams that should just be all in and desperate. And I would put the Vikings in that mix. I know that the Vikings have a better quarterback situation right now than a lot of these teams because at least they know that they're getting a guy who's going to play every week, who's going to be decent enough.
Yep.
He's familiar with the system that they're running, etc. But if Super Bowl is the goal, then Deshaun Watson is the guy. That's print the shirts. If Super Bowl is the goal, Deshaun Watson is the guy.
Print the shirts.
Boom.
Just Super Bowl is the goal.
I don't know if you can fit it all in.
That'd be a lot. That'd be like around your back.
Super Bowl goal.
It feels
Deshaun
like
Watson guy.
It feels
I don't
like it'd be around your back and like up your spine
It
or
might be.
something.
It'll be like Minkavich or something. We'll figure it out. All right, that's a wrap on this episode of Purple Daily. Thanks for hanging out with us, Mackey, Judd, Declan, and we'll see you guys next time.